6.5 inch piece of fabric and a 3.5 inch. From this, and then 6.5 inch Americana fabric, 3.5 inch. And so you'll see here that the stars, and I've used those two here, and then this is my extra fabric, and then these two are here. So this 6 inch fabric, the 3.5 inch fabric, will be mostly for your half square triangles, all the way around here. And so you won't see this any other place but your half square triangles. So from your 6.5 inch strip, you're going to cut 2 6 inch squares, 12 3 inch squares, and 4 2 inch squares. So basically what you're going to cut are these sizes: the 6 inch, the 3 inch, and the 2 inch. Obviously, and then from your 3.5 inch strip, you're going to cut your 12 other pieces that you're going to use for your half square triangles. So 12 from here, and then 12 is the only thing you're cutting from this strip right here. And then your fabric, you're going to cut 2 6 inch squares. So from your B fabric is the fabric you're going to use, and from that you're going to cut 2 6 inch squares. So that will make the other half of your half square triangle. Okay? So half square triangles basically, so draw your center line, so a 1/4 inch from each one of those lines, cut them apart to make your half square triangles. You'll have 4 of those, and you'll have 24 of those. Now, you will need to trim these down. So let me show you really quickly how to trim those down. So I'm gonna cut this one in half. You should I'll show you. So 3 inches is actually pretty generous. You're gonna actually be trimming a lot off of. So with your handy dandy little Tucker trimmer, you're going to find the center line, the diagonal line on the ruler, and place that on top of the diagonal line on your block, and then just trim. The diagonal line on the ruler, or
is it the 3 or the 2?
The 2.
The 2, okay.
The 2. Because these are when you're finished trimming, should be 2 inches. And then this one you need to trim up to 5 inches. So you're going to put you're going to find your 5 inch. There's my 5 inch line right there, and I've already trimmed that to 5 inches. This is the one that I haven't trimmed. Yeah, this one. I'll show you how to do this one. So your diagonal line, find your 5 inch line, put that diagonal line right on the diagonal of the half square triangle, trim 2 sides, making sure that you have enough here that you're going to trim there too, and then trim this other side. All right, so the challenge for this block is you're going to be sewing 3 of these little blocks together. Now this is not like this one here, but see, you're going to be sewing those 3 together, and then you're going to be sewing. So let me just take this over, and I'll sew these together, and then I'll show you how it goes from there. You can't do a refund. I'm the only one who can do a refund. So if she wants to come back later today, I can do that for her.
Okay.
Okay? All right. So I have those three together, and I know that's the way I want them to that's the way I want them to go together. So make sure, I always have my block, stay right there. Sitting right here, so that I can actually, because I've done this wrong too many times. So I always have it sitting right here next to my machine, so that I know that's how I want that block to go together. So I'm going to sew 2, and you don't have to match seams on this because the seams are on opposite corners. Now when you're doing all your half square triangles, do you know what chain piecing is? You can just chain piece them all together and do them all at one time. And if I were doing sewing more half square triangles together, I would do that here. But since I'm doing 3, you have to do 2. And I always put it back, say, okay, that's where I want this piece to go on there.
You know, I don't know if I'm in the right class.
Oh, you probably are next door.
Do I need to go there?
Yeah,
Sorry.
you're probably the
Okay, for the-
Britannica part.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're next
Okay,
door.
sorry, thanks.
Yeah. So once you finish, and your 1/4 inch is actually pretty essential on this one, because this, when you're done, needs to match your 5-inch block, just like that. Now, with it being a seam, sometimes if it's a little bit long, you can kind of fudge it a little bit, and if it's too short, you can kind of stretch it a little bit. But you don't want to do that very much. You just want to make sure that that is the same. So when I go to press this, the seam that I'm going to sew onto the block, I want to press so that I have these up so that I can sew. So what I do is I try to hit that intersection right there, because I know if I hit that intersection, I've got it perfect for my points. That way I know I'm not taking points out, or they're just perfect there. So that's why I press this like this, so that when I put this on here and I go to sew it, so I say, okay, that's where I want it. Then I'm sewing right through those intersections so that I get that point on my bear claw block. So I'm just going to sew that really fast. And let me show you also, I should have done this as I started to sew. This is actually really nice with this laser, because I can show you. See how with that laser, you can see that line, that sewing line that just perfectly intersects those intersections on my sewing on that side. So now, you'll see here, how now that I have that just perfectly right on there. So you're going to do that again, only the 3 that you're going to do on this side, and I don't have another 3, but I'll just show you. You will actually sew this block onto it. So you do your 3, and you sew this one, and then that will be sewn onto that side, which then you will end up with that block right there. And when you do this, see, I did that a little bit wrong, because this needs to be a bow tie kind of thing. So I should have actually sewn that onto that side. So that's when I pull out my seam ripper, and I'll take this off, sew it onto the other side, because you want this effect right here, which I call the bow tie effect. You want those 2 to meet together in that bow tie. And then you're going to put these together such that this creates you want this to be a little bit bold. So this creates kind of a pinwheel effect right there. And then you'll have a meet right there and create that little square right there. And so pay attention to your quilt outline or your diagram on your block to put those together. Okay? Any questions?
Did you press to the big square or the little squares?
When I press this, I press to the big square. And then, because that really reduces, because of the way you press this, it actually reduces the bulk on this. Because if you try to press to this side, you'll feel that there's a lot of bulk there. And then I press to this. Now, in order to press to this side, you can't split this seam up. So there'll be a little bit of bulk here. And, but that, sometimes you just can't get around that. Sometimes there's going to be some place where there's going to be, unless you wanted to open this up and then press this like this, which I've done before. And yeah, so if I really badly don't want a bulk here, I'll just do this where I press this out, open up that seam, press it out, and then I'll just press it like that where the seam, and you can't really tell if it's pressed really well that I've done that on this side. Do you guys know what a clapper is? It's a wooden a piece of wood. It's a dense wood. A gal in our guild, we're in a guild, has a husband who made these things for us, and it's a kind of a thick piece of wood, and you can get these on Amazon. And after and maybe next month I'll bring it, so I'll show it to you. When you press your block, it's going to be hot and kind of steamy, especially if you steam it or put brush press on it. It's going to be a little bit wet, a little bit steamy. You take this block of wood, you press it on top of that, you leave it until the block cools down, and you'll be surprised how much that block flattens out and becomes very flat. It actually is a really cool little tool. So maybe I'll bring that next month and show it to you and let you know. We don't sell them here, but it's an easy thing to get, and in different places. So, any other questions? I'm good then. Thank you very much.